So I want to do another quick demo of where the application's at. So here we're at the login page, and you can see we've got a farming themed background for the login page or the getting started page, and that's because this application is specifically for the agriculture industry. But when we're building this, and we look at this application, we're trying to keep it general, such that it can be used in many different applications. We can help spin up applications for specific industries, and then we'll just swap out, like, say, the background image or put labels over values. So just something to keep in mind. This is for the agriculture industry, but we're trying to make it very general. So we're gonna log in. We're using auth for the IDP. We can use anything, whichever, if anyone has a preference. So here we've got the list of devices, and you can see there's like a cherry picker and two bobcats. So we're going to go to the device, and we're currently in a view where it's more for developers or integrators, and you see like the telemetry, which is the device in the field sending out messages. You can see we've got some read GPS. We actually have a bad GPS signal, but then we saw it got found. So this is really helpful in the field. Um, you can see what's happening in the device, because the worst thing that happens is when you expect the device to do something and it's not working, and then this dashboard right now is fairly sparse, but we want to make it so it's very, like, this is going to be the ultimate troubleshooting tool, is the command center. We're going to call this thing the command center. So here's our telemetry. Here's a device, the digital twin, which the digital twin is the digital representation of the physical object, and it's more than just properties and values. It's more than just a model, but we're using the Azure IoT Hub, and they've got a digital twin. So we're starting very MVP approach. So we're only getting the device ID, the connection status, and the last activity time. But we're going to really improve this so we get a lot more data from the digital twin, and more. We're going to leverage that significantly more. So the idea with this is, like I said, we have a map that was showing the locations. We actually had a magnet with a Hall sensor to trigger when we're going to grab these locations. But in the field, I was having trouble with you're far away from your lab bench and the device doesn't work. And I'm like, now what? So this app really helps with the telemetry. We got a really good. It's much more mature. We want to really. We have to nail the command center for this to be valuable, because it's such a pain in the ass when you're in the field. It's like, oh, the device doesn't work. Well, now what? And at least this will show something. So that's enough on the debugging mode. The map mode, this is getting closer to the application specific stuff. So we've got locations, status updates, and then we'll go back to telemetry. So in the system, the device can publish these three types of events: a location event, a status event, and a telemetry event. So the location event here, we just have latitude, longitude, and then we can draw with a list of vertexes the path. It's pretty easy, nice. Then we have status updates, which is very similar to a location, and that it has latitude and longitude. But we're also, with the status update, we're going to have application specific metadata that goes along with it. So right now, for this application, we're actually we need to know the value of force gauge, which, how the force gauge works is basically we're using a Wheatstone bridge circuit, which is going to allow us to see a change in resistance by measuring a change in analog values. So long story short, this A0 is going to be the millivolts at the analog pin 0, and we're going to be able to calibrate that to a value that is specific to this application. So we're trying to make it so we can really use this and keep it flexible and extendable. So that's why we're actually sending up the analog value here, so the calibration can happen. We can have, in the app, you can say A0 is equal to, if it's 269, if it's this millivolt, that equals 20 pounds, and then do your calibration here. And then again, the telemetry is really helpful in the field, so we got the telemetry, which is pretty nice. Other than that, we've just got basic administration. So right now, a device is just a name and an ID, and this ID is going to be consistent across everything in the system. So behind the scenes, we're using Digi International, their remote backend um, called Remote Manager. Let's see, and then we're using Azure Iot Hub. So Remote Manager and Digi, we have our devices, and this is the device ID. And this has like all the files, so you can upload your firmware over the air with this. You can see connection statuses and all kinds of good stuff with Digi. So we have this cloud service, and then we're also using Azure Iot Hub for the messaging infrastructure. So in our devices, you can see we had a device in Digi. We created the same device with the same device ID in Azure, and then we propagate that forward. So this is what that ID is, so we can update the device. So when you create a new device, we're gonna have to know this ID, and what we would do is we would need a barcode, a QR code on the device. So a user would buy a device, they would get the device, they'd say, hey, this is going to be picker that's at Farmer Bob's, and they would need to get the device ID in here. So we would have a scan barcode, create your device, and I just created duplicate devices, so I can't do that. But you create your device, and then you're good to go. So the thing is, yeah. So for everything to work well, this device ID that's got to be across all systems. And then for the device twin, their digital twin, where right now we're just pulling some data from the Azure device twin, but I think we need to make it a composite. Oh, I'm sure we do. We also want to pull information. Let's see, devices. So in the Digi Remote Manager, they've got a REST API as well. So Azure Iot Hub has their digital twin representation. So does this. So and both are highly valuable. So we need to mesh those together somehow. Still thinking on that. So yeah, we've got 10 devices coming in the next 3 weeks. We're going to build up, and then we're going to start actually getting these in the hands of some users for the specific farm application. But we're definitely, if this is interesting to you and for any reason, we want to really get into fleet management. So with our core competency is going to be around tracking and location-based services. So right now the trackers aren't going to be like, they're not OBD2. Like, you don't plug them into a car. They're like bricks, and they have batteries and potentially energy harvesting. But if you're interested in OBD2 port, type trackers, fleet management, IoT, any kind of remote connectivity, definitely reach out. Again, our website is allthingsiot.com. And then this is the website. So we're trying to bring the physical world online. Fleet management and asset management is one of our core competencies. And then as we're building this, we do enterprise level application development to extend this. And the idea is, as we extend it for one client, we want to build it in such a way that it can benefit everybody. So that is the demo of the application. See you next time.